But before we get into it, we have one final piece of housekeeping to
That's right.
take care of. And it's very important to me that we spend a little bit of time talking about this. Because what the fuck is happening on Ryan Guzman's Instagram?
I opened Instagram the other day, which I rarely do. Like, I'm not really on Instagram regularly, but I opened Instagram the other day. The first thing on my feed is a video that Ryan Guzman, the actor, in quotation marks, has posted on his Instagram. And to be clear, I never unfollowed. There's like this sort of performative thing where, like, I guess you're supposed to unfollow people that you think are bad people, which normally I would do. But in the case of someone like Ryan Guzman, like, especially after his sort of scandal of late, I was hearing that, like, oh, there had been clues on his Instagram. So I was like, honestly, I should keep following him to kind of keep tabs on this, which now I'm glad that I did that, because I open up this video. Oh my God. It's like a montage of what looks like stock footage, some of it potentially AI, but probably some of it shot by him, because I think he like claims to be a photographer and an artiste and stuff.
It's set to like this weird lo-fi trap beat, and he's reciting spoken word poetry.
Poem,
if we can call it that.
In like, first of all, let's talk about the delivery. I mean, he's like speaking in the most cringeworthy, like, mouth lips this close to the microphone, and he's speaking so low. It like makes you physically recoil. I'm sorry if I just had that effect on all of you, but he's delivering it in a very he's also a bad actor, right? I don't think that's as controversial to say anymore. He's a bad actor, so like his delivery is just straight up bad.
It's like a cringy high school slam poem about wanting to fuck your girlfriend. That's exactly what it is.
It's
so,
like
guys,
a quote unquote love poem, but it written by him ostensibly, and it is like one of the worst composed things I have read in recent memory. It was unbelievably bad. He misspelled the word dormant in the first line of the poem.
The second
which I feel like
word
is setting us up.
Of the poem.
It's the second word of the poem. And like, I don't mean to sound like a snob. I don't think like misspelling things makes you like unintelligent, but I do think, first of all, I'm making fun. I wouldn't, like, to be clear, I wouldn't just like make fun of any old person's poem that they chose to share. Like, that takes bravery. However, one, he's a public figure. Two, he seems like a bad person. So I feel okay doing that now. I'm not saying misspelling things makes you like inherently unintelligent. I do think the rest of this poem points to him being unintelligent. And also I think, again, not to sound like a snob, I think dormant is like not the most difficult word to spell. So I think that's kind of says something about his grasp of language.
Does it not have a spell check? I mean, when you're writing I feel like, even just autocorrect on your phone, does he not have autocorrect on? Because he has like, he capitalizes and ends it with periods.
Maybe he has so much confidence in his own power as a wordsmith that he thought he didn't even need autocorrect. But I think what you wanted to do in this episode was give us a bit of a dramatic reading. Is that right, Ryan?
I saw this on Twitter because you tweeted about this, because, this had to be shared and archived and documented for the world to see because it was very funny. And I submitted a formal request to Jane that I may, in a very self-indulgent manner, recite the poem at the top of this episode in full. And so graciously and so humbly, she approved my request.
I did not approve the request to make it our cold open because I figured that like anyone who's not super online listening to this podcast would not know what it was and would be a little put off by us starting with like a long, terrible poem and nothing else.
Which is probably true. Which is a good call. But if I may, this is Your Presence by the one and only Ryan Guzman, 2025. What dormant magic lay ever so still in anticipation of your presence? Endowed with a tremendous sense, the linger of your aroma on every item I pass shoots through my body as if it were lightning in my veins, twisting and twirling like the very DNA it plays on. shedding light like a climbing firework in the deep of the night. In the pit of my core, there I hold a ravenous hunger for you, satiated only by an ever-growing imagination bent on ideals that will once be reality. I close my eyes and see yours. I said only to be met with the sun that carries your glow, for there holds our ethos, divine energy. I dare not contest such a gift, to be enriched with such a soul that complements the character of truth itself. For beauty is your shadow, spirit is your framework, and the elements of creation are your very blood. Blessed are those who feel the pleasures of your luminous presence, a gift I yearn to open once more.
You
Please
guys should
clap.
see the face I'm making right now. But I will give you a true, genuine compliment here, Ryan, which is your delivery was so much better than his that it almost made this poem sound legitimate at points.
Thank you. I was trying to channel like Gillian Anderson in Hannibal, like that sort of energy, very like sort of smoky and, you know, sort of with an air of mystique around it.
No, that was good. I'm tempted, though, now that we've read the poem, I know that I was the one who said I wanted to keep this episode on track, but I'm tempted to basically just line by line tell you guys why I think this is a terrible poem.
Please.
So we start, what dormant magic lay ever so still in anticipation of your presence. Already, dormant is misspelled.
Yeah.
I would say dormant magic lying ever so still in anticipation is kind of redundant. Like, I don't think you need all that. Dormant already tells us that it's lying still, right? The whole poem has this tone of like, he's trying to go for this very sort of classical, like verbose romantic poetry vibe, but he clearly doesn't have like the vocabulary to back that up. So this whole thing is peppered with like redundant sentences, but also, first of all, misuse of certain words. There are actual grammatical errors throughout. There are also like terrible similes, metaphors, whatever. So the first line is bad, but it's not the worst in the poem. Endowed with a tremendous sense, the linger of your aroma on every item I pass shoots through my body as if it were lightning in my veins. So again, we've got some redundant stuff. Shoots through my body, in my veins. You don't need both of those. But also the like cliche simile of shoots through my body like lightning, right? It's like, okay, that's like the most obvious. Like, it's not, I think a big part of the value of poetry is like coming up with new and original expressions and verbiage for things. And like this poem has none of that. It's just like, it's the first thing you would think of, right? What does something shoot through your body like? Oh, lightning. Boring. I think there are actual grammatical errors at the beginning of this sentence. He says, endowed with a tremendous sense. And then there's a comma, like a sense of what? A sense of what? So that just doesn't really make sense. The linger of your aroma. Now, I could be wrong, but I do not think linger is a word you can use as a noun. And I looked this up yesterday just to make sure. It is exclusively a verb, as far as I can tell.
It lingers.
So to say the linger of your aroma is just incorrect. I think, if he were to say the lingering something of your aroma or your lingering aroma on every item I pass, that would make sense. But the linger of your aroma does not make sense. Then every item I pass is just weird. Like, nobody says, oh, I'm passing items right now. It would, just saying like everything I pass would be better. Anything. Oh my God, anything, please. Anything other than this. Twisting and twirling, like the very DNA it plays on. I mean, ending a sentence with a preposition is like kind of sloppy. We all do it from time to time, but in poetry, it's kind of sloppy. Once again, we have twisting it. It's like not really saying anything original or beautiful, right? Like it's this very literal, it's twisting and twirling like DNA, which is in a double helix structure. It's like, okay, That's like saying twisting and twirling like a barbershop pole, you know? It's like, it's just a very obvious thing that twists and twirls, so it's not a very interesting expression. Shedding light like a climbing firework in the deep of the night. So again, a very boring and obvious and cliche simile. Light like a firework. Okay. Who are you, Katy Perry? You know, it's not very good.
The cast of Glee over here, you know.
Right. In the deep of the night is like not really an expression that makes sense either. And again, like poetry doesn't have to make sense. It's like I said, sometimes it's like coming up with a new and unique phrase is kind of the point. But deep of the night just sounds more like you don't really know how to construct a sentence. In the pit of my core, speaking of not knowing how to construct a sentence, in the pit of my core, that both doesn't make any sense and it sounds kind of nasty, like using the word pit to describe something that's supposed to be like beautiful or perfect. It's kind of gross. Like it makes me think about armpits. It makes me think
like he's the Sarlacc.
Yeah. In the pit of my core. And also it's like the pit of your core is kind of just your core, right? Like it just doesn't really.
Yeah, did he mean like the pit of his stomach or something? Like
I don't know, right? Or like he's talking about maybe he's trying to say a euphemism for his heart. I would rather he just literally said his heart, right? Because that would have been less stupid than this.
Maybe the bottom of his heart or something.
There I hold a ravenous hunger for you. Redundant. You don't need to say ravenous hunger. It's hunger, right? It's already ravenous. I get that he's trying to make it sound more verbose, I guess, more like descriptive, but ravenous hunger, it sounds cliche. It sounds stupid. I would say, you know, think for like 5 more minutes and try to think of something more original to say. Satiated only by an ever-growing imagination bent on ideals that will once be reality. I was kind of doing this process in my head yesterday. This, I think, is my favorite line of the poem because it's the worst one.
Yeah, it means nothing. It
means nothing.
Doesn't mean anything.
So not only does he make an actual grammatical error when he says that will once be reality. I mean, unless he was trying to say that will like at once be reality, like something becoming one. But I don't think that's what he's trying to say.
I think he meant like it will eventually be reality. I think he's like anticipating.
Yeah, but he used that wrong. You say once like in the past tense, not in the future tense. He's trying to say that will one day be reality, but he didn't. He used the wrong thing. Satiated only by an ever-growing imagination. He's using imagination as a noun, which you can do like, it's kind of weird to say like an imagination, like one singular. Like he means like a thought or like a dream or something, right? But I guess he thought imagination sounded better. It doesn't. Bent on ideals is a very strange expression to use here, I think, because bent on typically means like focused on doing something, you know, convinced that you will do it. Imagination bent on, like, that's just not really how you use that expression. And then ideals, it's like imagination, ideals. We're talking about 2 non-literal like thoughts or hopes that you have, but they're different, I guess. Ever-growing imagination bent on ideals that it's like you said, it means nothing. Like it communicates, you can't even tell what it's supposed to mean. I close my eyes and see yours, which I don't know. It's like, I guess that at least that sentence like makes sense in structure, but it's just kind of, again, like a cliche and uninteresting expression. And it's also just like, what does it mean? Why do we care, etc. I set only to be met, nice rhyme, with the sun that carries your glow, for there holds our ethos. I don't know what he means by set here, right? I think with the sun coming up later in the sentence, it seems like maybe he's trying to say, I set like the sun only to be met with the sun of your glow, right? So, except he didn't say that, so it doesn't.
So does he carry her glow? That's my question. Is he the sun? Is he the sun
or
that
is
carries
she
her
the
glow?
sun?
Is he seeing himself in her? Oh my God. Transgender awakening.
I feel like if he had just said like, my sun sets only to be met with your glow or something, like that still wouldn't necessarily be good, but like Like, at least that would make more sense as like a thought that he's trying to express. I set, like, unless you explicitly bring the sun into it as a simile in that clause, like you can't just say I set and expect people to know what you mean.
Yeah.
For there holds our ethos. Like, what? Why is your ethos coming into it? Like your belief system? And then he just says define energy, period. I don't know. I guess it's supposed to be spiritual, but he's like not describing anything spiritual other than like finding a girl hot.
I don't think he knows what an ethos is, to be honest.
No, I don't think so either.
I think he means like their essence, their shared essence. But that's not what an ethos is. That's a very different word.
I don't think he knows. I don't think he knows. I dare not contest such a gift. See, this is a point where it gets funny to me because I think, right, this poem is called Your Presence, and presence comes up, and the word gift comes up a couple times too. And I'm like, is he doing the thing where he's like making the extremely juvenile wordplay of presence being like presents, like gifts?
Like she's a deli bird.
Like, I think that's what he's doing. To be enriched with such a soul that complements the character of truth itself. More word salad, right? It just doesn't even really... To be enriched with such a soul, like, okay, your soul complements truth and I'm enriched with it is what he's trying to say. But like, okay, what? Again, why do I care? Like, why is this?
Right.
What?
It's like she's not hot to me.
For beauty is your shadow. Spirit is your framework. So I guess he's trying to say, like, you're so beautiful that, like, beauty is your shadow, right? You're even brighter than beauty. Fair enough. Whatever. I'll allow it.
No, I won't allow that because it completely flies in the face of the experience he's describing. He's not describing sort of a duality of this woman of, like, beauty is her shadow. Why is beauty her shadow? I thought beauty was what she embodied, in the light of the sun.
That's true. You could also interpret
Does she
this
cast
line
her
as
beauty
saying,
off
like,
onto the ground?
She's not beautiful because beauty is her shadow or something.
Yo, this uggo, like Porky Pig over here. Like...
Spirit is your framework is a part of the sentence that I hate because framework, you can't just, like, people don't really just say framework as like a word on its own. Like, it kind of has to be connected to, like, an analytical framework or a something framework. Spirit is your framework. I think he thinks that framework means, like, I don't know, the frame of who you are or whatever. It does. And even then, saying like spirit is what you are made out of, which seems to be what he's trying to say, doesn't really make any sense. Like, we aren't made out of spirit. Like, we have a spirit, which you could describe, but like spirit, I don't know, in my opinion. I guess he could be trying to say like spirited. I just think it doesn't make any sense either way.
I don't think it makes any sense.
Yeah.
At all.
And the elements of creation are your very blood. Like, what creation, what elements of elements feels like a very vague word to use here that actually like reduces the point, the meaning and the sentence being poignant at all. Like, elements is so that could mean literally anything.
No, I think this means something. I think this means something very specific, and it is at once both concerning and also very funny. I think Ryan Guzman has a pregnancy fetish. I think he wants to get this girl so pregnant because the elements of creation are her very blood. That's like that sort of like straight man thing of like, I want you to have my babies. You're my baby mom, my baby. I know, isn't that gross?
You might be right.
Like, it's.
I saw somebody on our Twitter when I posted this. Somebody was like joking about like I had mentioned to someone else. I was like, unfortunately, I think it's a poem about like a woman he finds hot, and somebody commented like, oh, a woman, like making a joke about like he's gay, which a lot of people like to joke about. Listen, I know people love to joke. I hate to break it to you. This is like the straightest thing I've ever seen.
This is the straightest man in the entire
Nothing has
world.
ever convinced me more that this man is 1000% straight than this poem. Like,
yeah.
I just don't think
this collection of words.
And like, I do not mean to sound like, oh, I can excuse racism, but I draw the line at cringe, because I don't. Okay, I did draw the line at the other stuff, but this is like probably the thing that I've seen from him that made me the most viscerally disgusted. It's one thing to like know in the abstract that he probably believes racist and like transphobic things, but this is like the pure expression of his idiot soul, and it's not endearing to me. It's giving me such an ick.
It's a very invasive, sort of like visceral like read, you know what I mean? Like I feel like I need to take a hot shower after reading this. Yeah, it's gross. We haven't even finished a poem, by the way.
No, blessed are those who feel the pleasures of your luminous presence. Once again, luminous presence is like boring and cliche. Pleasures and presence being so close together in a sentence like sounds bad. It just sort of muddles the rhythm, the actual sound of the poem. Yeah. And then a gift I yearn to open once more. Fair enough.
Her legs.
I think, again...
Her legs. It's her pussy.
Well, yes. I don't like the sort of extremely literal sexual vibes I'm getting from this, but also it seems like he's doing the childish wordplay of presence and gift again, which I find really cringe. It's like, oh, the presence of your presence? The present of your presence? Like, is that what we're doing, Ryan?
I mean, this is what seals the deal for me. That this is just like sort of a gross, horny post in sort of
1000%.
abstract, form. Because like the so close together are the lines, blessed are those who feel the pleasures of your luminous presence, a gift I yearn to open once more. He's talking about her legs. You know what I mean? He's talking about muff diving, and like I just it's gross.
I don't even think muff diving seems too gracious a read of this. I think he's it's just like penetration. We're just talking about penetration. I don't care to hear Ryan Guzman's thoughts on heterosexual penetration.
I just know that Camille Paglia would love this poem.